Hey, this is Mike. I am in Whiteville, North Carolina, visiting Van Underwood, Chrysler Jeep Dodge Ram, and I'm checking out a 2016 Jeep Cherokee Latitude. Now the Latitude trim level is just above the Sport, so it's not the bottom trim level, it's kind of middle of the road, I guess. But this is a two-wheel drive model. So let's check it out. It's sitting on 17-inch aluminum wheels with the four-wheel disc brakes. Take a look here, the profile. And I really like the Cherokee. As soon as it came out in 2014, I was actually working here at Van Underwood Jeep and got to see it as soon as I got off the truck. Speaking of just getting off the truck, that's the condition this one is in. It hasn't been washed, it hasn't been you know, so the plastic and stuff has been taken off the seats, but that's about it. So excuse the dirtiness if if it's not completely perfectly clean. So here in the front we have what people think is the headlight. It's actually your daytime running light and a side marker there, but your actual headlight is a projector halogen headlight that's down here, and it's a bifunction, so it serves as your low beam and your high beam. And then you have your halogen fog lights down here. I really like the way the front end looks. It gives you that 7-slot grille, the Jeep icon, and the overall shape of the vehicle is really cool. It's you can tell it's a modern vehicle, you know, especially I think my favorite is the Trailhawk actually, but the Trailhawk has a little bit higher stance and, you know, bigger wheels and stuff like that. So this is more for the non-off-road buyer. So with the Latitude, you know, like some of the features you would have is like the roof racks, the privacy glass, the aluminum wheels, stuff like that. It's a little bit higher than the Sport. So let's take a look on the inside. There's the inside of the passenger door, and everything's black, but most everything is soft to the touch. Even up there, you have like some contrast stitching here with some soft to the touch feature there. Hard plastic here and here. You have like a little bit of a wood grain, you know, fake wood grain type stuff there. Bottle holder there at the bottom. Huge speaker there in the door. Then you have a metallic looking handle with the door lock. Manual adjustments on the seats. These seats will go up and down as well. Cloth seats. You have different types of cloth. Different, like the center part has a pattern, and the outer part is more of a plain black. Then you have the contrast stitching here in the seat as well. But check this out. This one has the storage in the seat. Underneath the seat you can put your gold bricks or whatever you want to hide in there or store in there. It's a really good way of utilizing that space that would normally go unused, and you know, it's completely out of the way and out of sight, which is pretty cool. Let's take a look at the glove compartment. It goes in there quite a ways. Glove compartment is huge in this vehicle. That's one of the first things I noticed when I first saw one. You have a little net pocket there on the side. That would probably be a good place to put your cell phone or something maybe. Of course, you have some places there on the door. Also, I want to mention this seat folds flat, so you have really awesome cargo capacity when you actually fold all the seats down, which is pretty cool. It goes all the way from, you know, the back of the vehicle to the dashboard potentially, like if you're picking up a, you know, small roll of carpet or something like that, something long. Okay, so let's take a look here in the back. Here's the inside of the back door. Got the same, you know, finish here. You got the soft to the touch and all that stuff. And the back seats you can move them forward and back, but also they fold down as well. There's a 60-40 split. And now I just want to mention the reason why a lot of people get confused. They think, well, why do you want to move the seat forward? That's just going to diminish your legroom, and I agree. But really it's for adding cargo space behind the seats, really. So if you don't need all the legroom, you can move the seat up and get the bigger cargo space. And these seats will recline slightly. You can see it's just a little bit of a reclining there, but they also fold down completely flat. like so. So that way you have a combination, you can have a combination of cargo and passenger space if you need it. Got an armrest with some cup holders there. Now I'm gonna get in on the other side, but since the driver's seat is positioned pretty far back for my driving position, so I'll show you that one on the other side. Okay, so let's take a look at here at the back, and like I said, it hasn't been washed or anything. Has a single exhaust for the 2.4 liter to breathe. Made it up to a 9-speed automatic transmission, which is pretty amazing to me. You got a backup camera there. The 9-speed, it shifts a little bit different than the average person might think that's used to a transmission that from the past, but it just seems to really hit those gears, the right gear ratio at every moment. Starting out, it feels a little bit different, but other than that, it's pretty solid and awesome from my experience, for sure. You got some little hangers there, tie downs. Have little grocery bag hangers here on this little thing, and this thing was removable too. You can take this off, and they make accessories that you can mount on this thing, but it's pretty cool being able to move it out of the way. Plus you can put something in here and rest it in that pocket. Let's say it's a tall, I don't know, like a tripod or something like that. You can put it in there, and it keeps it keeps it stable from falling down, and also you can still utilize the rest of your storage space. Speaking of the rest of your storage space, we have some tie downs here and here, but under here is this whole nother level of cargo capacity, and that bag has that's a little like a grocery bag, reusable grocery bag in there that says Jeep on it, which is pretty cool. Now this cover, you can take this little hook off and you can hook it up here like so. So that way you can organize your stuff without having to hold that up the whole time, which I think is pretty cool. But also under this thing, this is like a tray that's pretty light, and you can remove that. Then you have your spare tire kit under here. Now I just want to mention that is an option in the Jeep Cherokee. The spare tire is an option. It doesn't come standard, so you want to make sure that you either add it or be aware that you do or do not have one. All right. Yeah, and all those seats will fold down, and you'll have tons of room in there. All right, so let's close this down. You have that spoiler there on the lift gate, which helps contour the vehicle. A lot of people think that spoilers are for like pressing the vehicle down to the road and stuff like that. Not always. I mean, they're used to maximize the drag, not maximize the drag, diminish the drag as much as possible, maximize your ability to flow through water. Not water, air, but it's still a fluid. So just think of water. If you're trying to rush through water, it creates quite a drag. So water and air are both fluids. So going through air is similar to water. Anyways, that's a separate point. We'll have to get Matt to explain that one. Okay, so let's get back here. Hop here in the back. And the driver's seat is in my normal driving position. I'm 6 feet tall. So let's take a look here. Got plenty of leg room. And it's pretty quiet in here, isn't it? I know the microphone doesn't pick up everything, but it is pretty quiet to me. You have some vents back here, but also you have a 115 volt 150 watt Edison plug down here, so you can plug in, say, a laptop, or you need to plug in your phone or something like that. It's like a power inverter, and that's exactly what it is. So you can plug in stuff to have some power like you would at your house. It's not a whole lot of wattage, so you're not going to be able to plug in a hairdryer or something like that, but it does give you the ability to plug in some stuff there. So let's go ahead and look at the fuel door. I'm going to show you something there. And actually the fuel door button is kind of hidden under here, so if you didn't know where it was, now you do. Okay, so here's the door. It's on the passenger side, and you have the cap here, and it has this little tether. So this little tether, plastic tether, has a place for it to rest right here. So you can hang your cap right there. It's completely out of the way. It doesn't dangle down and scratch your paint. And you can put gas in the vehicle, and you know, it doesn't splash gas or anything on the cap, and then you can just put it back on. Pretty cool. So here's the key. And I know it doesn't really look like a key, but it is actually a key. And it has that actual real metal key on the inside. Let's see if I can do it one-handed. You see that key on the inside. In case your battery goes dead and you need to use that to unlock the door. But once you get in, you can always start the vehicle using this part right here. So you just take this and put it in there and start it up. Let's take a look under the hood. So to open the hood, once it's popped from the inside, you just reach right under here, right here, just a little bit to the right of center. So you have the Jeep symbol, it's a little bit to the right, and there's a little catch, and you squeeze it towards you. It looks like that. All right, 2.4 liter. Multi-air Tiger Shark 4-cylinder engine, direct injection system that gives you a combination of really good gas mileage and fuel economy. So this engine will surprise you, especially when it's paired with the 9-speed transmission, which it is. It can really cycle through the gears. And I just wanted to mention another thing about the 9-speed transmission. It doesn't actually have to cycle through all 9 gears. It can skip gears. Whatever gear ratio is best for you in that moment, it's going to jump right to that gear, and it's going to shift so fast you won't even believe how fast that transmission can shift. All right, so let's go ahead and take a look on the inside and check out all the features there. Okay, so here we are on the inside. 2016 Jeep Cherokee Latitude. Everything's well placed, as we will see. I'm going to show you everything. Let's go ahead and start over here on the driver's door. So on the driver's door, we have basically a mirror of the other side as far as the styling and everything. And we already saw the little fuel door button, which is kind of hidden there. And you know, that's one of those hidden buttons. I would say it's not well placed, but you know, if you know it's there, it's your vehicle, you know, it's not a big deal. Your door lock controls are here, power windows are here, and the front two are power, like automatic power windows, so you just push it one time and they will go down, then you lift up one time and they'll go up. That's on the front only. You can lock out the rear windows here by pushing this button. This will allow, like, if you don't want if you got kids or something in the back, you don't want them playing with the windows, you can, you know, lock those out if you need to. Your side mirrors are controlled here. You just have to pick a side, left or right. Once you pick a side, you can adjust it with a little pad there. So it has automatic headlights, and you see it has the off, and then there's your parking lights, then your headlights, then of course you can put it on automatic, and then your fog lights are, you can turn those on or off here, and there's a little indicator to let you know whether they're on or not. So you have 2 dimmer switches. The one on the right is for your gauges, gauge lighting, and then the one on the left is for your interior ambient lighting, which if you check out one of my night videos, you'll see this vehicle is pretty neat. It has a lot of ambient lighting, little lights around the cup holders and stuff, and then all the buttons are backlit on the steering wheel and everything. So check out my night video, it's really cool. So let's take a look here at the steering wheel. It is a leather wrap steering wheel, a little bit thicker than the average steering wheel. It's very comfortable, and what I like about a thick steering wheel is that it doesn't dig in your hand much. When you're gripping the steering wheel and you're on long trips, your hand doesn't get fatigued. It's just really comfortable steering wheel, high quality feeling. It is a little bit smooth, so like you can slide your hand across it and grip it really good. Okay, so since 1941 we've got there, and then we have like a little bit of a gold tint metallic accent around the outside. So your cruise control is here on the right, so you can set it. You just have to make sure it's turned on. So you push that button and you'll get an indicator there in the center of the gauges that it's on, and then you can set it with one of these buttons. You can resume, you can always cancel with this button, and you turn it on and off with that button. So on this side we have your Bluetooth for your phone. So once you pair your Bluetooth phone, you can answer calls here, hang up, and use the voice recognition feature, which is awesome. Voice recognition is not only for making calls, like say you push that button and call Stephen Underwood. If Stephen Underwood is in your phone book, you can push that button and say call Stephen Underwood, and it'll call him up. But you can also use voice recognition for changing the radio station. You can also use it for all kinds of different things, and the new vehicles, they come with a little manual for the voice recognition, and it kind of teaches you how to use the features, because this is one of those things where it's a really convenient feature, but also a massive safety feature, because you're staying productive while your hands are on the wheel and your eyes are on the road. It's really awesome. I really encourage everybody to really learn the voice recognition systems in their vehicle. It's really cool. Okay, so another thing about the steering wheel that we have, I'm going to show you these buttons in a second, but on the very back of the steering wheel you have a volume button on this right side. You can see it's up and down, and typically it's not that easy to see. You just kind of put your hand there and you can feel them in the back. You have a volume there on the right, so I can adjust the volume if I want to just by having my hand on the wheel, and pushing the center button will change from AM, FM, AM, FM. If you had satellite radio, it would change, cycle to that as well. So on the left side of the steering wheel, we have a toggle which will change through your radio stations. Okay, so let's say, or if you're playing from another source, it'll change through the tracks on there. But the center button on this side will change through your presets. If there's no presets right now, so it's not going to cycle through them, but that's how you do that there. So really cool features, having buttons on the front and the back of the steering wheel in order to keep your hands on the wheel while you're driving, which is really cool to me. Okay, so we've got these arrow buttons here. We have an OK, and then you have the arrows. This corresponds to this little screen here in the center of the gauges. Now you can see the gauges. You have the RPMs there to the left, speedometer there to the right, 140 miles per hour speedometer, and there in the center we have your engine coolant temperature there, and then your fuel gauge. It's like a digital type gauge. Outside air temperature, digital compass. We're facing east right now, and you can see our cruise control is still on, but right now it's showing the speedometer. Okay, so if we want to change that, let's say we don't want to have a digital speedometer there, we can use these buttons to scroll around and get some more information actually. So let's scroll down, and you notice it, all of a sudden you see the little number pop up, and it shows that we're in part of a menu system. So I'm going to scroll down to vehicle info. See, 1, 2. So vehicle info has these little bubbles here showing me that I could go left and right. So right now we're in the transmission temperature. So I'm going to scroll to the right, and it's going to show us the oil temperature. Scrolling to the right again, oil life, how long it's time until it's time to change the oil, battery voltage, tire pressure, and coolant temperature. And then it goes back to transmission temperature. So you can see those little circles there at the top kind of indicate that we have a horizontal menu system in addition to the vertical menu system. So let's scroll down again, go to the next menu, And this will give us our fuel economy. So it'll give you a current and an average. Scrolling down again, this is a pretty cool trip because it gives you the distance, the average miles per gallon, and the time. And you have two, trip A and trip B. Scrolling down again just kind of tells you what your radio is doing. And then any stored messages will show up here. Right now there's no stored messages. And what I mean by stored messages is when you start the vehicle and it gives you a message like, say, time to change the oil, or something like that, then or if you have a turn signal out, which is pretty cool that it lets you know that, it'll let you know there. But then if you just like, well, I'll just deal with that turn signal later or whatever, or I get the oil change later, I get to get to work or something, so you just start driving and that message will go away, but it'll stay in the stored messages. So you can just go in there and you say, what was that message again? You can go in there and see what it was. Okay, so let's go down again. We're back to the speedometer. So that's a pretty cool little menu system there. It gives you quite a bit of information, and it's all right there at your fingertips while your hands are on the wheel and eyes on the road. I know you get tired of me saying that, but it's important. All right, so now we have this little touchscreen here, and well, right above it actually we have a storage pocket, so you can put some stuff, and it goes in there pretty far. See if I can get it. It's hard to really show it with the camera angle, but it has just a little storage tray there, and I guess you could put like, stuff that's not going to get messed up with the heat up there on the dashboard. But anyway, and the dashboard is soft to the touch, by the way. Everything's very high quality feeling in this vehicle. Okay, so we've got this little touch screen, and right now we're in the radio screen, and we can cycle through AM, FM with this button, and then we can push and hold and do our presets here at the top if you want to. And we can change our audio, like you have an equalizer and loudness, speed adjusted volume, which is pretty cool. So the faster you go, the louder it'll get, that kind of stuff. And let's go to the media, because this is where this radio really shines, because it doesn't have satellite radio. It doesn't even have a CD player, which is good because CD players are obsolete for a long time, but you do have other ways of playing music through the sound system. So pushing media, we're in the USB part, but you got USB, SD, auxiliary, and Bluetooth. So there's 4 different ways of playing music through the sound system. Bluetooth is pretty much the most convenient because it's wireless. As soon as you pair your cell phone with the system and you have music on your cell phone, you're good to go. But you can also, utilize these little outlets, these little plug-ins here for the SD, auxiliary, and USB ports, which are very easy to get to if you wanted to. So that's the media button. The phone button, it's asking me to pair the phone, but once you pair a phone, you'll have access to your phone book, recent calls. You'll actually have a little keypad, number pad to dial calls. Plus, if you're in a call and you want to transfer it back to your cell phone, let's say it's a little bit of a private call or whatever, you can hit the transfer button, transfers it to your cell phone, you pick up the call from there, and you don't have to let anybody else in the vehicle hear your conversation. Pretty cool digital compass here. And then your climate controls here. You do have some, your climate control down here as well, but you have some level of controlling. So like say you hit that and you can adjust your temperature, and then you hit that, then you can fan speed, you can make it go up and down like that, or you can go like that, whichever you want. Recirculate the air, all that good stuff. And then mode is where you want the air to blow. It's pretty cool. And down here where it says more, this is going to give you your outside temperature, or you can have this big digital clock. Let's say you're on your way to work and you need to really focus on the time, you have this big digital clock there. And then you can go into settings, and there's all kinds of different settings you can do. You can of course adjust your clock, change the display. You can change the way the doors lock, if like say if you want the doors to lock as you're driving, that kind of stuff. When you turn off the engine, how long the headlights stay on, all kinds of different things. So that's pretty much a overview of the touchscreen here. And my favorite part is the media, but there's lots of cool things, and also where's it at? The clock right there. I like that because sometimes really you need to focus on what time it is, and that's a really big, large digital clock that you can see easily, and you can kind of pay attention to that. Okay, so your four-way flashes are here. So down here we have your volume for your radio, tuned through the stations on that side. You can always turn this digital screen off if you want to, if it's just distracting you by pushing this button, and you always can turn it on by just pushing the screen. And then you have your traction control button here. You can turn that off. It's always on unless you turn it off. And then you have this back button, which just goes back out of certain screens. So I'm going to push it now, and it's going to go, it's not going to go back out of this. It's usually in particular menu screens. We'll go into settings, and then we go to voice, and you see it has an arrow there. So now we can hit the back button, and since it's the same thing as just hitting the arrow there. Okay, so we also have some redundant buttons for your climate control, which is really convenient. Redundancy is a good thing in a lot of ways. So you have your temperature there, your fan speed, and your air conditioning, your front and rear defrosters right there. You got a little pocket here, and like I showed you, you have some inputs here, but also you have a 12-volt power supply there. And this is, you notice, has a key there that will turn on and off with the ignition. So that's what the key that means there. Little itty bitty pocket to put change or something there. So let's check out this 9-speed automatic transmission. This is awesome. So let's go ahead and put it in reverse so you can see the backup camera pops up here, and you have those little guidelines there, and you can turn those on and off if you want to, but you notice they're turning. And the reason why, I'm turning the steering wheel, and it's giving me an estimated trajectory of the vehicle if I back up in that direction. Plus, you'll notice it has these color-coded lines. So green is good, yellow is kind of caution, and red is absolute bad. The reason why is because this is a little bit distorted. You notice the horizon's curved pretty good because it's a wide-angle lens, so you can see really good behind the vehicle. But this distorts the image a little bit, so the guidelines give you an estimated size of the vehicle, but also, gives you a maximum distance. Like you need at least this much room behind the vehicle because you don't want to hit something. Okay, so go ahead and move it down. There's neutral. There's drive. So this is your normal drive position. The vehicle will choose the gear ratio that you need to be in at all times. If you ever need to adjust the gear ratio, you need to change or cycle through them yourself, you can just push it over here to the left. It goes into a manual mode, and you can use kind of like a ratchet shifter, cycle through the gears. And you'll know what gear you're in because it'll tell you right up here. So first, second, third, fourth, fifth. And you notice the left side says 1 because it's not going to let you start off in eighth gear, okay? You're just letting the vehicle know that you're willing to go up to 8th gear. So it's going to start off in 1st gear even if you put it, choose 8. Okay, so there's drive, and then back in park. Okay, so this is a electronic parking brake. So to turn it on, you just lift it up, and you see the little light comes on, and you can actually feel it in the pedal that it's engaged, and then this engages in the rear wheels, by the way. So we push this down to release it. So it's as simple as that. That's your parking brake. Cup holders are here, ambient light around them, which is really awesome. Check out my night video. Little place to put pencils or maybe your cell phone or something. You can prop it up there if you wanted to. Okay, so here's your center armrest, which is really cool. It's pretty good size and very comfortable, and it has the contrast stitching there, and it's very soft. But it has 2 stages. The first one is this little pocket here, and you can put stuff in there, I guess like a cell phone or whatever you want. And you notice it has this little places for wires to go in and out of there. The reason why is because there's a USB charger and a 12-volt battery supply, 12-volt power supply there underneath, so you can run the wires in and out of these compartments to charge them. Now you notice that power supply has a battery on it because that one is always on. As long as it's hooked up to a battery, the vehicle, even if the ignition's off, it's always on. So you can charge your cell phone or something while you're in the store if you need to do that. Pretty good sized storage pocket here too. Now one thing I would recommend if you have one of these vehicles is these ports here, they actually make little dummy SD cards and stuff that you can put in there, so that way it just kind of fills that hole, and that way you don't accidentally, you know, get dirt or whatever in there. So I mean, you can just put that in there, and you know, same thing with the USB and the auxiliary, they make these little plugs that you can put in there. Okay, so let's check out the rear view mirror. It has the day and night mode with this little flippy switch. Right on top actually is your microphones for your Bluetooth system, which is pretty cool. So up here we have lights, individual lights that you can turn on and off. Of course, you can turn them all on by using your dimmer switch over here. And place to put your shades is right here, and it has like a rubber protecting material on the inside. I like that chrome trim around there, that's pretty nice. Okay, so up here we have some mirrors and lights. Same thing on that side. And check out these visors, they pull out and they extend out a little bit, so that way you can just get the right spot. Isn't that cool? Take a look at the visibility back here, so we can see if I can get you a good angle there. There we go. You can see pretty good, I think. All right, there you have it, 2016 Jeep Cherokee Latitude. Pretty good amount of features, isn't it? I mean, there's a lot of stuff that's standard on the Cherokee that's just really awesome, and they're really fun to drive. You got to take one for a test drive. Really super fun to drive. But anyways, thank you for watching, and thank you to Van Underwood, Chrysler, Jeep, Dodge, Ram in Whiteville, North Carolina for letting me show off an awesome vehicle, and I'll see you next time.